Next, on Northwest Outdoors, ride the rapids of the Wenatchee River, then head to a muzzleload shooting rendezvous in Central Washington. Your Northwest Outdoors is next. Broadcast of Northwest Outdoors is made possible in part by O'Loughlin Trade Shows. Puyallup, Portland, and the Denver Trade Shows are proud supporters of public television throughout Washington State, placing an emphasis on education for the great outdoors. By New Holland Tractors of Yakima. With a full line of tractors to fill every need, New Holland Tractors have been supporting Central Washington farmers for over 55 years. And by Kershaw Knives of Portland, Oregon. Makers of precision tools and cutlery, Kershaw Knives continues to support outdoor programming and outdoor activities throughout the Pacific Northwest. The tranquil beauty of Central Washington. Between the Mount Stewart Range and the wildlife, this part of the Northwest is a great place to relax. It is also a great place to get an adrenaline rush.
Woo! Keep going! Keep going! Woohoo! All right! Woo! Stop! Stop! Woo!
We're on the Wenatchee River right in the middle of Washington State. River rafters come from all around the Northwest to enjoy the surroundings and test their skills on this whitewater roller coaster. River guide Sarah Myers of Northwest Outdoor Adventures is host to a group of river rats for an outing on the Wenatchee River.
I'm here with DJ Tuttle today in All Rivers Adventures, and we're out on the Wenatchee River. DJ, why don't you talk to us about some of the safety measures we need to take before getting on the river today?
Well, the first thing is you want to be dressed properly. You want to make sure that you have a wetsuit on, a life jacket, and either a splash jacket or in booties, or some type of rain shell just in case it does rain on our trip today.
Okay, and could you go over with us the correct way for sitting in the boat?
Sure. First thing is you want to make sure that you're sitting with both feet inside the boat. You don't want to be straddling the tube like this, and the reason being is if for some reason the boat were to hit a rock or something and your leg was hanging out, it would really crush your leg. It's a lot of force of water out there.
Okay. Could you talk to us about the correct way to hold a paddle and the best way to get a strong paddle in the water today?
Yeah, sure. First thing is, everybody's going to be paddling today. You want to have your top hand over the tee like this and your bottom hand right down by where it changes color. And you're going to be using pretty much mainly your upper body. You want to lean forward and stroke like this, put about the full blade in the water and use your upper body and pull the paddle back to where you're standing or sitting more erect again.
Okay. And what happens if someone does fall into the river today?
First thing is there's a line here around the outside of the boat. It's what we call a chicken line. If anybody feels like they're on their way out of the boat, they should reach and grab for this line. This will keep them pretty close to the boat, and it makes it a lot easier to do any type of rescuing when somebody's that close.
Okay, if they tend to be floating away from the boat or a great distance from the boat today?
If you're just a little ways away from the boat, you can hang on to your paddle. It's like an extension to your arm. You can hand the T-handle out to somebody in the boat. If they get more than this paddle distance away, you want to get in what we call the river position. Get your feet pointed downstream like this. And get your feet out of the water and lay back on your back. This way, if you come up on any rocks, you push off it with your feet instead of hitting it with your shoulder or your head.
Okay. And why don't we go over the technique for rescuing someone back into the boat today?
Sure. You want to demonstrate with me?
Sure.
Okay, so first thing you want to do is you want to turn around backwards like this. Either grab them right here by the top of the life jacket or grab them from underneath the arms like this and then just hang on to them and fall back and just hang on. And you just pull them right back into the boat.
Okay.
It's not graceful, but it works well.
All right, and if someone is quite a distance from the boat today, how do you get them back to the boat?
Each boat's equipped with one of these right here. It's what we call a throw bag. And it's about 60 feet of nylon rope in here, and as we throw it out, we throw it right to the people, and they grab it and we pull them back to the boat.
Okay, can you throw that for us today and show us
Sure.
how it's done? All right. And where should the customers grab the rope to come back in? Should we wait and grab the throw bag, or should we grab onto the line?
Grab it at the shortest possible point. That way when you grab it, you're not having to wait for 60 feet of line to come all the way back in.
Okay.
Okay?
All right, well, I think we're ready to go rafting.
That sounds good to me. Let's go have a good time.
Today we are in a paddle boat going down the Wenatchee River, but we've got some other boats joining us today. We have a cataract, which is the pontoon boat you see, and it's set up with an oar frame. We also have an oar frame boat today, which is just like this raft, but it has the frame structure on it also. And we also have a kayaker with us today. There are a number of different paddles that we need to do on the river today. Those paddles are a forward paddle. Let's go all forward, everybody forward. Back paddle, all back paddle, all back paddle. There you go, nice job, good power, good power. A right back or a left back. Give me a left back, left back, left back, left side goes backwards. All forward, all forward, all forward. Everybody forward, there you go, nice job. Give me a right back, right back, right back, right back. All forward, all forward. Nice job, guys, give me some power. Dig in, dig in. There you go, and stop. Nice job. These commands that I'm calling today are paddling techniques that we teach people who are on the river today, possibly for the first time. These are strokes that are going to help us down the river with a really good, strong momentum. It's going to get us through the rapids. We're going to have a really good time. All right, today, guys, when we go through these rapids, we're going to have a lot of Class 2, Class 4 whitewater rapids we're going to be going through. And again, the best way to paddle through these rapids is together at the same time. What you're going to feel is we're going to come through these rapids, and there's going to be a lot of waves that are breaking and letting us through, and those aren't going to be a problem. We're going to have a really good time enjoying those waves. What is going to happen is we're going to come up to a wave, a hydraulic or a reversal. And what this is water coming back upstream because it's pouring over an object or around an object. Now when we come up in the boat and we hit that, it's going to feel like hitting a brick wall. We're going to kind of stall out. The best way to get through that wave is to continue forward in an aggressive manner, paddling forward. What I want you to do is I want you to, when you see that white wall coming, I want you to lean into it and really dig for that wave. And you're going to feel the boat stall. Just keep going forward. I'm going to be yelling, dig, dig, dig. I want you guys just be aggressive and go hard, and we'll have no problem going through these rapids. Now, it is really easy to get down the rapids in a conservative way. There's always a green line through the rapids. You don't have to take the biggest hits. You can always run pretty conservatively, and usually it depends on the crew we have. But I think today we've got a pretty strong, solid crew, so I think we'll be able to take a lot of white water today and some big hits.
Experienced rafters gauge the strength of a river by two things: the speed of the water,
Running about 9,600 CFS, that's cubic feet per second. And a good way for someone to imagine what that is imagine about 9,000 5-gallon buckets of water flushing by you all at the same time, and that's about the size of the river we're going to be on today. Our highest peak level has been about 24,000 CFS, so that gives you a good idea about where we're running. And some of our lower water in which we raft in is around 3,000 CFS.
and the size of the rapids. Each set of rapids have their own personality and are known by name.
This rapid right here is called Drunkard's Drop, and it's got the biggest waves. Some of the biggest waves on the river are in this rapid right here.
Woohoo! All right! Woo! Nice job.
Right there is nice.
Okay, stop.
Okay, this rapid here is called Pipeline. Some nice big waves. We're gonna try to stay out of them. Okay, this rapid here is called Snowblind. This is probably the most difficult rapid that we're gonna run today. Should be hitting a big wave right about now. Nice. Okay, they're coming right into the biggest beat of the rapid, and this is a big wave that we call avalanche. Should be hitting it right here. Boom. They work their way down the middle of the rapids, avoiding some of the bigger holes, or running them. And now they're working their way to a big wave that we call the snow blower. You see the catamaran running in the background. Doing the same thing. Maybe they'll get to surf some of these holes in the cat. Here's the catamaran coming right at snowblower again. All right, good job, everybody. Okay, this rapid right here, the top waves at the top, we call these grannies. Nice ride, Germ. These are some nice big tall waves, probably 6 feet in height. As you come down through the rapid, down here at the bottom of it, this big crashing wave that we call suffocator. It's infamous for unloading boats. Woo-hoo! Okay, they got a little bit of rescuing to do. No problem, looks like everybody's just fine. What a ride!
Working as a team while taking on a rapid head-on can be very exhilarating. Before stopping for lunch, rafting guide Sarah Myers tells us how to put you and that perfect outdoor adventure together.
Well, Northwest Outdoor Adventures is a company that books recreational activities and lodging throughout north central Washington. I'm able to custom build itineraries from the Stevens Pass, Leavenworth area all the way around the Cascade Loop up to the Winthrop and Mazama area. I'm also starting to pick up businesses and book different activities throughout the Seattle area. Some of the activities I book in the summertime are whitewater rafting, golf, fishing, scenic flights, hiking, rock climbing. In the wintertime, we've got activities such as dog sledding, sleigh rides, snowmobiling, backcountry skiing, lift line skiing at the local ski resorts. And this is a business that allows those travelers coming into the area who aren't familiar with the different activities. It allows them to have a chance to speak with someone who's local, who's been raised here, who knows the different activities that are offered and how to get involved in them.
After a morning of rough and tumble rapids, a quick break for lunch is always welcome. But before long, some of the work that goes along with rafting begins, like portaging a raft around an obstacle.
DJ, on many rivers we see spillovers or low-head dams like we have behind us. Why is it so important that we do portage around these dams?
Anytime that anybody sees a dam like this on a river that, or any signs of a dam downstream, take a lot of precaution and get out and either walk around it or check it out to see if it is actually boiling back upstream like this one here. Low-head dams there are really dangerous. All the water that goes over the dam actually doesn't go downstream right away, and what it does is it goes down underwater and then comes up and has this void to fill and it recirculates back upstream. And what it does is it doesn't let anything go downstream from it, so everything that goes over just sits there and recirculates. And if we went over it in a raft, the raft would probably be stuck for several days until we could get a rescue crew in, or something like that. Yeah! Okay, Todd here's riding an inflatable kayak. For people that aren't really getting into kayak or first just beginning, these are very forgiving and they're a lot of fun. Kind of going through a nice gentle rapid here. Kind of the object of going through rapids is keeping the bow pointed directly at the waves. That's kind of what I'm doing when I'm working on these oars, is basically just keeping things straight going into everything. We have a bridge pillar coming up down here. We're gonna kind of work our way around it to the right down the middle. It's really nice to be running in more than one boat at a time. Reason being is just in case there's any type of problems with other boats, that we have more than one boat on the float. We can run safety in case there's any type of problems. Okay, the basic things that you want to look at when you're going downriver are, you want to really kind of be towards the inside of the bends on the river. And that way that if there's any problems on the inside of the bend, all the water actually pushes towards the outside. Other things we're looking for are horizon lines, where water is actually pillowing up on rocks and then going over. So one of the things that we don't want to do is really be going over the top of rocks. This tree right here on the right, where you see where all the bark's gone on the top, that's the high water mark from last year. And that water was right at the top where you see no bark, and that river is running about 25,000 at that point.
If you know what you're doing on the rapids, there are many ways to have a little fun.
Right here is riding on a boogie board. It's brought a 5-foot piece of ethafoam and with swim fins on to keep his momentum going forward. Same type of thing as we were talking about before with the gravity, just holding him in there.
And on most rafting trips, you can count on at least one good water fight. River rafting is a safe, fun activity that families can enjoy together. There are many rivers to raft for beginners or experts all over the Northwest, and the gear usually comes with a guided service. If you are interested in rafting the Wenatchee River in central Washington, more information will be available at the end of the show. Among the trees deep in the Wenatchee National Forest, the smell of gunpowder floats through the air. With a loud bang, primitive dressed muzzleloaders take aim during the annual Pine Creek Rendezvous. Located just 17 miles west of Yakima, men, women, and children gather to compete using flint rifles, muskets, pistols, and tomahawks.
The history of rendezvous really begins back in about 1822 when a man named Ashley and another man named Henry decided that having forts for the trappers, the fur trappers, there might be a more expedient way, and they began taking fur brigades into the mountains. And rather than having the trappers bring their furs to the forts, why they would come and bring all the supplies to the trappers once a year, and they would have a rendezvous spot where they would meet to resupply the trappers for the year. And as that began and took popularity, why it got to be quite a place of not only trading, but there would also be games and shooting contests and tugs of war and horse races and that type of thing. And that kind of provided the history of the rendezvous, the fur trade era in the Northwest and the Rocky Mountains. Pretty much followed that pattern until about 1839 or 1840, as the price of fur, beaver declined, and the rendezvous kind of stopped rather abruptly there in those years, about 1839 and 40. So our reenactment here in the rendezvous is kind of a reenactment of that yearly event that took place in the Rocky Mountains during those days.
What I enjoy most about this is the opportunity to get out and camp and meet with the fellas and compete with the target shooting. Not necessarily do we have to shoot an animal.
Our rendezvous we have a kind of a dual thing. We have a formal shoot and primitive, as we kind of appeal to both groups of people. And so we have quite a bit of shooting paper targets, which is just a kind of a skill competition. And then the trail walks that we have there's competition, but they're a lot of fun. They're designed to be fun and frustrating sometimes. And the knife and hawk contest, the primary tools of the trapper was his rifle and his tomahawk and his knife. And so we have a throwing contest with a hawk and knife as well as shooting.
On the trail walk, there's a number of challenging targets. One of the toughest is splitting the muzzle ball on the blade of an axe and hitting both playing cards.
Oh. As long as you get any kind of a splatter on other card at all,
it counts.
It counts. No, all I got was one. Oh, go both. And I'll take the furthest one on the right.
Okay. Jerry, you don't call your shots when you...
And it disappears. Yeah.
Well, the reason we do the period dress and so forth is kind of a reenactment of that same period of time, the 1840s or the fur trade era. And that's the general gist of the camp, the tents, the period dress. And the types of guns we shoot, for the most part, are Hawkins or Hawkins-styled guns, which were gained popularity in those years. Prior to that, it was pretty much the long rifle of a small bore. And during the rendezvous years, in the Rocky Mountains, they needed the bigger bore rifles and heavier rifles because they'd be there for extended periods of time and repairs were difficult.
Hi, my name's Dennis, and if you want to get into rendezvousing and the primitive aspect of it, this is how you're going to have to load the gun and what you're going to need basically. What you're going to do is, this is a replica of an 1816 Hawken, and it's a scratch built, and it's a flinter, and it's definitely a left-hander. What you do is you take your powder flask and you flip the lever and you shake it, release, and it loads powder. Then you take your powder, you pour it in there, thump your gun. Then what you do is you take a patch, you put it on here, and you reach in and you grab a round ball and you push it in. Then you take your loading rod out, load your round ball, you're down, make sure you get it on the powder or the gun will explode on you. It's down. Now you take your pan powder, you put that in the pan, you close the frizzen, you cock the firearm, you lock the back trigger if it has a trigger, and then what you do is you pull the trigger and it goes thump. This kicks open, your sparks, and ignites the powder, which ignites the main charge, and there you have it for firing.
I find it a great hobby, a great pastime, and it combines several things. One, for families. Most rendezvous have a lot of children's activities. Usually there's a lot of family events, husbands and wives and kids. I find the competition in shooting fun, as well as just the camping and the camaraderie. I think it's just a healthy, laid-back type of sport. Not too serious in the way of a sport, but just fun competition and a good outing, good place to. I don't know why I enjoy it, but I do.
The noodle shoot, you gotta actually shoot the noodle. Call your shot, you know, like either second, third, whatever one you want to shoot, and it will disappear.
If you would like more information how you can float the Wenatchee River or